Welcome to your second class. Let's get started. Face front. Chariye. Remember, this is our attention stance. We put our heels together, the feet form a V shape. There should be enough space between your big toes to put both fists. Or your feet are open at a 15-degree angle. Your hands are in fists about 12 inches or 30 centimeters from your body, with your elbows slightly bent and your back straight looking forward. Sasyo Nimke. Face the master instructor. Kyungnae. Taekwondo. Remember, we say Taekwondo to identify why it is that we're doing this salute to each other. Now, last class we talked a little bit about the salute. I also mentioned that, I said this term master instructor. So there's instructors, there's assistant instructors, and master instructors in Taekwondo. Typically, if you've been training for about 3 years and you start helping out in your school, you become an assistant instructor. And that's usually about a 3 to 10 years that you've been training for 3 years. And then after about 10 years of total training, and this is obviously consistent training with 7 years of training as an assistant, you could then be promoted to the rank of instructor. After you've been an instructor for usually about 15 to 20 years and teaching and promoting other instructors, you can get to a rank of master instructor. And remember, this is just levels of instructors. We use this term master. In my culture, master means a lot of different things, and we could use it in a lot of different ways. But the way we use it is we're using it to reference mastery of the art, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're in control of anyone or anything silly like that. We just mean that the term master instructor means that you have trained long enough, taught long enough to reach the level where your seniors have promoted you and said, yeah, we believe that you've now mastered this and you can represent yourself as a rank of master instructor, okay? All right, let's get our warm-up started. Bouncing on the spot. Remember, we're just gonna be on the ball of the feet. The heels aren't touching the ground here. We're just bouncing lightly and not doing anything like side to side. We're just trying to bounce evenly, okay? Remember last time, we opened our feet a little bit. We put one leg back about a shoulder width long, I should say, while maintaining about a shoulder width wide. We let our hips and body turn slightly. We turn the front foot in, and we keep the back foot pointing kind of straight, okay? Change. And when we change, we try to do a fairly quick change so that we land with our feet in the same position with the other foot back. Front foot turning slightly in, back foot pointing straight, about a shoulder width long, about a shoulder width wide, change. And when we're balancing, again, this is just part of the warm-up. We're practicing this. This will be a way that we get into sparring. We'll be moving like this, and we'll be having this stance as our foundation change. But for now, we could also use this just as a conditioning exercise, a warm-up. We're going to warm our bodies, get our blood pumping a little bit, and get the back of the legs conditioned as well. Change. Change. And very good. Breathing in through your nose. And out. One more in through the nose. And out. Now last class, we didn't do this. We are gonna do push-ups now. So let's follow along, okay? Now again, with this one, let's watch first, and then we'll do it together. So let's drop down to our knees. Watch how we're gonna do this first. I'll go sideways. I'm gonna start with my hands flat on the floor so that my thumbs are about the width of my shoulder, and the fingertips are about the height of my shoulder, okay? So I'm in this position for preparing for my push-up. Now you'll see a lot of folks, they do a lot of different positions with their hands. A lot of times we like to go wide. It just feels like a better, stronger position on the floor. But for now, we're gonna try to do the hands in those correct positions like I discussed, okay? Just about shoulder width wide, fingertips are even with the top of the shoulder. We're gonna keep the back straight and the legs straight. Now, if you're in this position and you try a push-up and you have a very difficult time, you can drop your knees here, okay? That lessens the resistance on the chest and makes the motion actually easier to complete. Now, people say, oh, I don't want to make it easier, I want to make it stronger so I can get better. Well, we have to take one step at a time, okay? Let's get better at this first version before we ever get up to the correct version. So if you're having a difficult time doing what we call the traditional push-up with the legs straight, don't cheat yourself and change your technique. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to put my knees down. And they end up doing these strange kind of motions that don't hit the push-up muscles correctly and can even potentially cause some sort of injury or long-term wear and tear damage. And we're gonna try to avoid that in everything that we do. All right, so let's do our push-ups together, okay? Hands about shoulder width wide, fingertips about even with the top of the shoulder. We're gonna put our back straight, legs straight. When we bend, we're gonna leave the body off the floor. We're not gonna touch. Only my hands and toes are touching the floor. And we'll push off in one motion, okay? Let's try it together. We'll drop down and then hold there, okay? Drop down, hold off the floor. 1, 2, 3, push straight. 1, 2, 3. We don't need to hold 3 seconds up here, actually. We'll just go down, hold. 1, 2, 3, push straight. Down, hold. 1, 2, 3, push straight. Now again, you can put your knees here. Down, hold. 1, 2, 3, push straight. Or you can put your knees straight if you can. Down, hold. 1, 2, 3, push straight. Let's do one more together. Down, hold. 1, 2, 3, push straight. Fantastic, fantastic. Let's stand up, shake out the arms a little bit. What you'll notice is that we're gonna do all different things in our training. We're gonna do some exercises, conditioning the legs, conditioning the arms, conditioning the chest muscles, conditioning all the muscles that we use for not only producing our strikes, but also strengthening the muscles that will be required to absorb impact. So we can condition and harden our bodies so that we're better able to absorb impact, okay? Hands on your hips. Let's touch your chin to your chest and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Head to your shoulder, push down with the opposite hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side, head to your shoulder, push down the opposite hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arms in front. Big circles going forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Elbows bent. Twist your body side to side, letting your body just kind of naturally turn. And hold. 1, 2, I shouldn't say hold, I should say twist. 3, 4, and 5. Circle your hips one way and the other way. Excellent. Put your hands on your hips. Press on your knees 3 times and then bend your knees 3 times. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3 up. 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3 up. 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, just on the ball of your foot, rotate your ankle. Circle your ankle. 1, 2, 3. Other way. 1, 2, 3. Other foot. You see, I'm just kind of picking my ball of my foot's on the ground, and I'm just kind of rotating my ankle around here. Okay? Go one way. 1, 2, 3. Other way. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, put your back straight. Put your legs straight, bend at your waist, and let your body hang down as if you're kind of touching your pushing your stomach towards the floor and pushing your rear end towards the back. Arching your back a little bit, and you can let your hands hang down towards the floor. Okay? And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Open your legs a little bit. Point your left foot towards this side. Remember, this is my right, I know, but this is your left because this is you're facing me. Remember, we discussed this last time. When you're facing the screen, this side of the room for you is your left. But I like to do things in a mirror image, right? So point your left foot towards the side, turn your body, bring your body down to your leg and hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Bend your knee. Push your hip. Stretching the inside of your leg here. Hold. 1. You see I'm on the side of my foot right now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to go on the ball of my foot. My heel's going up. And I'm holding, stretching the hip flexor here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's go to the other wall. Knees straight, turn your body, bring your body down to your leg. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Bend your knee, push your hip. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heel up, ball of the foot. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's have both feet pointing straight ahead. Bend your knees. Use your elbows. Push your knees outward as you basically kind of sit yourself down, pushing your knees outward. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's slowly let the legs, one leg straighten while the other leg bends slightly more. Pushing outwards with the knees. With the elbows, pushing your knees outward as you go side to side. And as I go to this side, I'm going to rotate my left toes up, right toes up, left toes up. I'm going to open my legs a little bit, right toes up, and I'm going to go all the way down and hold. 1. Now again, you can put your hands here, or you can hold your foot, or you can do a few different things here, guys. Let's try to hold this position, but eventually, right now you might have your hands on the floor, but eventually we're going to leave the hands off the floor. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Both feet pointing straight. Use your elbows. Push your knees outwards as you kind of sit yourself down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knees straight. Put your hands on the floor in front of you, flat. Walk your feet back towards your hands, keeping your knees straight. And hold it. Walk as close as you can, but don't go overboard here. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Excellent. Shake your hips a little, or shake your legs a little bit. Very good. Now, we'll go into our dynamic stretching. Now remember, for this one, we pick a height that's challenging, but not impossible. And remember, we do have our area set so that, of course, we don't want to fall, but if we did fall, we're in a position that we would actually land without hitting our head or body on any sort of obstacle around us. So we want to make sure that we're in a safe environment, able to do these exercises in a safe way, okay? Let's start with your left leg. Pick a height that's challenging, but not impossible, that you're going to feel a stretch, while not cheating the starting, guys. And I say cheating. When we say cheating, we used to, oh, you're only cheating yourself. And I remember hearing that when I was a kid. I never fully understood. But now I understand. If I say, okay, I don't want you to put your foot back, just lift, right? And you try it, and you're like, I can't. But when I put my leg back like this, now I can. Okay, good. But you're cheating yourself, because the reason why it's easier for you to do it with the leg back here is because you're using some other more dominant muscles to get some momentum of your leg, right? We don't want to do that. We want to strengthen these less dominant muscles that we're going to need to have, they're going to have some proficiency in if we're going to be good at Taekwondo. So we want to use some exercises to strengthen them, okay? While also doing a stretch. So that's why we're going to do this one as strictly as we can. Keeping your feet shoulder width apart, starting with your toes in line with each other. Stick out your left hand, pick a height that you can do, and let's just do dynamic stretch. 1, following my count. 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's do the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as we do this, certain things will start to happen. You're going to maybe swing your arms around or something to try and catch your balance. We're going to try to minimize all of those things, okay? Now, we're not just going to let ourselves fall down. However, we're going to try to maintain our balance with less motion. We're just going to try to focus on this base leg a little bit. Keep in mind, you're going to stumble a little bit. This isn't a balanced position to start. This isn't a position where I would start a kick to defend myself, right? And it's probably not the type of kick I would do. So you might even lose balance a little bit, wobble a little bit. Don't worry. We sometimes put ourselves in these situations so we can improve other parts of our abilities. So feet shoulder width. We're going to go a little higher now. Pick a height that's not your maximum yet, but a height that's challenging. Okay? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you also probably heard me, like as I was doing my leg lift, I was making this breath, but it wasn't like the breath I was doing when I was doing like that punch, right? So the body will work in themes. Now my movement is a little more natural, right? It's not a big snapping motion at the end. There's not a big explosive power at the end. It's just a stretch. So since I'm lifting my leg though and exerting, I do have some exhaust, some reaction. So I'll let my body just kind of breathe out on each kick in a natural way. Not that short sort of sharp breath that I would do on more of an attacking or blocking type of motion, okay? Now let's pick our maximum height, a height that's the most challenging for you to do correctly, okay? Whether it's here, wherever it is, make note of where it is so that as we continue training, you can have some satisfaction in seeing that improvement, okay? A lot of times when we train, we'll see somebody else doing a height, like a leg lift, maybe higher than we do it, and we cheat ourselves of the pleasure of noticing our improvements because somebody else is still higher. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's allow ourselves to enjoy the improvement. Last class, maybe you were at a certain height. Let's see if you could do the same this class, just the same. Maybe not even higher. Let's just see if we can do the same, okay? Let's go to the left leg. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Very good. Circle the hips a little bit. Other way. Very good. All right. So let's get into our training portion. We've just completed our warm-up. Let's get into the training portion. Ready? Jumbi. Hands should be in fists 5 centimeters apart or about 2 inches away from each other. 7 centimeters from the body or about 3 inches away from the body with the elbows slightly bent and the back straight. Feet are shoulder width, toes pointing straight ahead, parallel to each other. This is our parallel ready stance. From parallel ready stance, extend your right fist, shoulder height, center of your body. Take your free hand, put it on your hip with the palm facing up in a fist. Now remember, we practiced this last time, and I said to you last time, don't worry, next class we're going to practice this again. Well, guess what? Next class, we're also going to practice this again. We're going to continue practicing this because we're going to learn punches, and then we're going to use these exercises to train our punches. Remember, we're learning and then training. So let's actually review what we did last time. We actually switched our hand positions. As we pull the extended hand back to the hip, the palm rotates up. As the hand is on the hip extends, the palm rotates down, and we do them both together. Let's try a few slow motion punches. Ready? Or natural motion. 1, and we turn. We don't want to go slow motion like just natural motion. Ready? 2, and twist at the end. 3. Now what we're trying to do is notice certain things that the hands go in motion at the same time and finish at the same time. 4, 5. Therefore, if they're traveling at the same speed and they start moving at the same time and finish at the same time, they need to travel the same distance. That's part of our elements in Taekwondo. One of our areas where we can make power, we try to have a reaction force so that while we're producing power one direction, we're taking into account the power that would be coming back into us another direction. We're going to delve into that a little deeper later on. But for now, we'll just focus on a balanced movement. Let's do this a little quicker now. Not with a snap yet, but just a little quicker with this minor breath, like the way we did it when you're kicking. Like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Relax the arms. Now, we'll do the same thing we've been doing. However, we're going to add our sharp, short breath at the end because we're going to make a powerful movement. Remember last time we talked a little bit about how it's kind of like a sneeze? There's like, relax, relax. Explosion in 1 millisecond, and then everything relaxes again. And we're going to try to do that without making the joke of sneezing, okay? We're not going to go, achoo. I mean, if you want to do it, just do it once or twice by yourself in your basement or wherever you're training. Achoo, achoo. You can do it by yourself for a second or two. Get it out of your system. Okay, now that you're over with it, maybe you were just watching me going, what's he talking about? I guarantee you, some of your classmates training at home were sitting there in their homes going, achoo, achoo. They've been wanting to do it, right? Now you've done it. Let's get serious. Extend your right hand, shoulder height, center of your body. Let's extend bring your left hand, excuse me, on your hip, palm facing up. Relax the body, and in one explosive movement, we're going to do a punch. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Let's open your legs a little bit. Bend your knees. making a sitting stance, okay? So 1.5 shoulder widths wide between the feet. The knees are bent and pushing outward, okay? So we're in a sitting stance here. The kneecaps would be bent so that they're even with the ball of the foot, not the tips of the toes, ball of the foot. And the knees are pushed outward so the outside of the knee is even with the inside of the foot. Put your right hand out in a fist. Remember the fist? First step, bend as much as possible. Second step, pulling the fingertips up and into the palm so that these 3 fingers are level. Work this guy if you need to. Get his range of motion where it needs to be. Make sure the pinky's not overextended, that it keeps in line, and then wrap the thumb across the first 2 fingers, watching that thumb tip. Range of motion, you can work on it a little bit, make sure it's there. All right, extend it, shoulder height, center of your body, free hand on the hip. Okay, we're gonna do 1 punch. Ready? 1, good. 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Now, the body likes to do a little bit of a motion, right? We don't like to be very rigid. We use our mass in various movements, okay? When we do a punch, we do a kick, we like to use our body weight to get more power. And again, when we do these exercises, we're gonna practice that in a fundamental way. So what we're gonna do is that as we punch, let's follow along together. Extend your right hand in a fist, palm facing down, left hand in a fist, palm facing up. We're just gonna do a small dip here. Let's pretend our height, we'll call this height 0, okay? Let's do a dip so that we go, let's call it -2. If this is 0, -2. Then I'm gonna go back to 0, past 0 to +2, back to 0. Let's think about that again. It's going down, up, down, all right? But how far down? -2 down, +2 up, back to 0. So I'm at 0, -2 down, +2 up, back to 0, okay? So I'm gonna go down, -2, up, and then as I drop, punch. So as I punch, a little wind up, boom, right? A little here. So let's try. We're not gonna use the shoulders right now, we're just gonna use the legs. Ready? Slowly together. -2, +2, do it with me. Drop into your punch, back to 0. Good. This height is 0. Let's try it together. -2, +2, back to 0 as you punch. Good. Let's try it again. -2, +2, back to 0 as you punch. Good. Let's try again. -2, +2, back to 0 as you punch. Good. Now I'm going to count 1. We're going to go -2, +2, back to 0 as we punch. Ready? 1. Good. I won't keep saying 1. I'm going to count now. Ready? Follow along. 2. Good. 3. 4. 5. Relax. Deep breath in and out. Another one in and out. So the way we use our body weight there, that's not necessarily, again, when we defend ourselves, we typically don't stand like this to punch. We will, however, use some of the mechanics that we learn in these exercises in practical self-defense situations, like the way the body moves to put mass into a movement. You'll see certain people that the way they move, there's just almost a fluid motion. How do we learn that fluid motion? We don't do things like, hey, drop your elbow, your shoulder, move it back 3 centimeters, lift it up 2 centimeters, and make it all fluid. There's certain movements that are very technically explained, and then there's going to be certain movements that are technically explained that then translate into other things that we do. And the way we actually call this the sine wave, the little waving motion there when we do our punch from our sitting stance. Understanding that, practicing that, and learning that will affect the way we move in our later movements once we adopt all of Taekwondo, right? When we learn these fundamentals, we adopt this as movement, we teach our body how to move in these ways, and then whenever it does move in a sort of a physical, striking, blocking sort of way, these natural sort of reactions or these natural sort of mechanics that we've adopted into the body will just play out without having to think about it, okay? All right, Junbi. Feet shoulder width, right, parallel to each other, hands in fists, 5 centimeters apart, 2 inches, 3 inches, or 7 centimeters from the body, back straight. Ready stance. From here, we're going to take our, what we call, I like to call this position our fighting stance. And some people go, fighting stance, you shouldn't say that. Well, I mean, I heard it when I was a kid. I've been saying it I heard it since I was a little child, all through my training. I've used it all through my training. And so it's still a term that I use because it makes sense in my brain, okay? Fighting stance is a position that we're in to, practice our techniques, our kicking or punching techniques. Or we would be sparring from this position, or if we're in a self-defense situation that we are aware of, that we could prepare for, we may take this position, okay? So let's actually take the position we'll call fighting stance. You're gonna take your feet, very similar to the way when we were bouncing earlier on, pretty much identical. Shoulder width wide, shoulder width long, front foot turned slightly in, with the back foot up slightly, all right? Heels off the ground. For now, we can just keep the feet straight. But when we're bouncing, neither heel will be on the ground. For now, we can just keep the feet flat, okay? We're gonna practice our front snap kick. This is our first fundamental kicking technique. We did our rising kick, which will lead into what we call a pick shape kick later on. But this is a front snap kick that can be used, as an actual attack towards a target. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up the back leg and extend outwards. Now this technique is one of our more basic kicking techniques, but unfortunately a lot of people only do this technique one way and it's very limiting. What most people do, watch, I'll kick this way, is they pick the knee up like this and they flick it upwards, right? It ends up being a kick that snaps upward. And there are some legitimate targets. There's, between the legs, even the point of the chin for extreme accuracy. However, the front snap kick that we're going to practice is more of a penetrating technique. We're driving inwards and through a target as opposed to upwards on the target. So you see, what happens when I lift my leg up in front of me and my foot's dangling below my knee, I'm going to be kicking upwards. But what I want to do is pick up my heel under me, driving my knee towards my target, kicking inward. You see? This way, a penetrating technique. This way, okay? Now notice, my body weight's going forward. You see, you go to martial arts schools, you see, one, they're all doing this, right? Like, you're training to lose. You have to put your body weight into a movement or else it's not gonna have power. If your mechanics is to let your weight sit behind this base leg, that's like punching somebody like this, right? It makes no sense. We want the weight going forward, okay? I don't have to exaggerate, right? But I want to make sure that I'm moving my body like the way I step, right? How come when I step, what's happening here? Why am I not moving? Well, because when I pushed off with this leg, I positioned my body so that there was some momentum carrying me into the step. So I'm going to do the same thing with my kicking technique. My body weight's going to go forward, okay? All right, so we're going to unpack and do this all together in just a moment. But remember, just a few key points. As we lift the knee, the heel is coming under the body, here. And as I'm lifting the knee, I'm not thinking of pulling my knee up. I'm thinking of pushing my knee inward, right? As if I'm kneeing something inward. My heel's coming under my body, and it doesn't pause there. In one fluid motion, the kick happens, okay? So, we've talked about the way the leg's gonna come up, heel under the body, right? Knee going inward, and the body weight advancing like a step, okay? 3 points, heel coming under my body, knee going inward, right? And body weight going forward like it's a step. Those are 3 important things. We haven't discussed what we're doing with our arms yet. We haven't discussed the shape of our foot yet, okay? Those 3 things though are important. As we think about, bringing the heel up, driving the knee in, moving the body forward like a step, when the foot comes up, it takes a shape. It's not just hanging, okay? So I'm gonna flex the foot like a flipper and pull my toes back. So when I'm making impact, I'm actually making impact with the ball of my foot. Pointing the foot like a flipper, right? Again, a lot of people will always think about pointing the foot like a flipper and the smacking with the top of the foot upwards on a target. We're penetrating inward, and we're not jamming the tips of the toes, we're using the ball of the foot. Now that position with the feet, working to lift your toes up as you flex it, does take some practice. It does take some practice. I remember when I was a little kid, I would sit around and look at my feet and flex it and pull my toes back and do it with the other foot, and just practicing while I was sitting around. So don't get in trouble, don't get distracted, don't do that while you're supposed to be doing something else. But if you've got nothing to do, you can play with that a little bit. flex your foot straight like a flipper, and then pull your toes back and get used to that position, okay? So that's gonna be the foot position. The foot is flexed, toes are pulled back. So as my heel comes under my body, foot is flexed, toes are pulled back. As my knee drives inward, as my body takes a step, I also have my foot position to think about. Let's talk about hand positions, okay? I'll face you guys for a second. Let's assemble the hand positions together, keeping in mind that this isn't going to be like an exact technical thing. When I say punch, when we practice our punching, we practice shoulder height, center of the body, exactly. We want to train for specific, precise targets. For our hand positions, our bodies, arms, some of the dimensions differ from person to person, okay? There are people who can kind of stand hunched over like this, and it's like their whole body's covered. There's other people who stand with their bodies like this, and their torso is exposed. It just depends on the way your body is shaped. So for now, we'll go with a fundamental, like the fundamental positioning, and then you can make some small alterations to make it comfortable for you. Okay, let's start off with the hands and fists facing towards each other, eyes level, parallel to each other. Okay, elbows 90-degree bend. Okay, here. Now I'm going to step my right leg straight back, letting my body kind of do that half turn. Okay, so now this hand is off to the side, like there's a guy there, but he's not. He's probably right in front of me. So I'm just going to let my both hands shift to in front of me, okay? I'm going to bring my back hand down a little bit so that my forearm is more or less even with the center of my body, almost covering my solar plexus. It doesn't quite reach far enough, but that's more or less the angle I want. So if anything is coming into the solar plexus or my floating rib here, this arm is protecting it while also protecting my face, this side of my face. It should also be in a good position if something's coming straight at you. I shouldn't have to block too much to deflect it. Something coming to the outside should be protected. Something coming straight at me, I should be able to catch or block or deflect, right? So my front hand is just also in fist, elbows down, so that I'm covering my floating rib. Knuckles are about up just below my eyes level so I can see over, and not drifted outside of my body. It's not doing anything out there. Or not too far into my body because it's leaving this whole section exposed. I want to be able to basically be, if my head's sheltered from something coming this way. If something's coming into this way, I could probably block with this hand. Usually, we gotta be careful. The temptation is to block with this hand and leave your face open for something else. But let's just focus on these hand positions. We won't go too much into the blocking strategies for now. We'll focus on our hand positions, okay? So again, this is about eyes level. Elbow straight down, in line with my shoulder, okay? The back hand, forearm is a little lower. It's around, let's say, below my eyes level, around my cheek level. Forced forward, so that my forearm is kind of in line with the center of my body here, more towards my opponent, okay? Not drifting back here, more towards where my opponent would be. My knuckles are about here, okay? So this is my fighting stance. Shoulder width wide, but a shoulder width long, okay? From here, I'm gonna do that front kick with my body weight going forward. Now watch, if I just kick, and I'm not making fun of anybody because we end up doing this a lot of times when you're thinking so much of your feet, right? When my hands are like this, if I were to step, my hands have to adjust, you see? So now as I step, I got this one eyes level, elbows down, covering my floating rib. I got this one forward, right, a little lower than eyes level. So my forearm is even with the center of my body, covering things, elbows downward, knuckles up from this position, right? So I'm gonna be switching my hands based on my foot positions. Now, that's a lot to digest. We're talking about kicking, and then I went on about foot positions, and then I started talking about my hands, and I talked about how they switch, all of these things. Let's actually not overthink it a little bit. Let's just do a few of these exercises together. Okay, let's break things down a little bit. Let's start with just to relax the arms, and let's start with the heels, the kick. Standing with your feet shoulder width, parallel to each other. I'm just gonna lift my heel under my body, and I'm gonna give my butt a little kick with my heel. I'm not gonna hurt myself, but I'm gonna feel it there, okay? Let's try this leg. Your right leg, 1. Let's try the left leg, 2. Right leg, 3, 4. Let's step to this leg straight back here. Let's put your right leg straight back. Same thing, but we'll do it stepping forward, okay? Ready? 1. Step back, change feet. Other leg back, 2. Stepping forward, okay? Bring the hands up a little bit. Okay, let's start. Hands, shoulder height, parallel to each other, knuckles, eyes level. Put your right leg straight back, right? Elbows down, knuckles around eyes level. Shoulder width wide, but a shoulder width long. My back forearm is even with the center of my body. My back fist is just below my eyes level. I'm about here. I'm gonna pick up my knee under my body, step forward, and I switch my hands. Let's try that again, same side. Ready? 1. Okay, and switch hands though. 2. Okay, good. 3. Okay, so I bet you some of you guys are kicking at home, right? Change. I bet you some of you guys are kicking anyways, right? Just try to follow along with me. Don't rush ahead of me, okay? 1. Good. Remember, driving the knee inward, hands turn as your body steps. 2. Driving your knee inward. Good. 3. Good. I'm doing a little bit of a skip. I shouldn't do that. That's something if you're putting a lot of mass, you might even skip a little bit. Let's just not skip for now. Let's just do the normal thing. 4. Skipping is okay, but the thing is that if you're not used to it, you know, you do a little slide, the feet like to come together. If I'm pushing this foot forward and I slide this foot and my feet come together, I go down. So let's avoid that for now, okay? All right, let's go back to actually let's start a parallel ready stance. Jumbi. Feet shoulder width, hand to fist in front. Actually, no, with this one. Let's step your right leg straight back, shoulder width wide, shoulder width long, bringing your hands up into this position, okay? Let's try again. 1, here. I'm leaving something out, but we'll cover that later on, okay? I'm leaving out the kihap. I'll discuss that later. We'll do the motion together. The heel's gonna come under the body, extend, land in front. Following my count. Ready? 1. Good, and step back. 2. Good. Step back. 3. Good. 4. Good. 5. Good. Change. Now we'll do the other side. Same thing. Heel comes under the body. Body weight goes forward. When I finish my kick, I land in front. Ready? 1. Good. 2. Good. 3. Good. 4. 5. Excellent, excellent. Let's take a breath in through the nose. And out. One more. In. And out. Very good. We're going to do the same type of technique again, but this time, when we do our fighting stance, we're actually going to do a short, sharp yell. We call it the kihap. Ki is your energy. Hap is to unite. So when we do the kihap, you unite your energy, the sound comes out. We make a yell. Now remember, if you're training by yourself and you're at home and there's people in the house and you're going to suddenly yell, let people know or make sure it's okay. Or if you're in an environment where you shouldn't yell, just listen to this and digest it in your mind, okay? You don't have to follow along. But when we do a position, we make a kihap. That's a mental cue. Every time I train, right? When I go to start my fighting stance, and then techniques happen after. So if I'm in a situation, right? And I'm going to do this all the time. And when we first did that, I still remember when I did that as a kid, I was like, hey, yelling and trying to yell louder than my friends, and we're just kind of having fun with it. But without realizing, what we were doing is we were preparing our minds as a kind of a cue, right? And I hope it never happens, but if we're in a self-defense situation, you're going to feel the same as everybody else. Fear, worry, all sorts of stress. So we have to get our mind under control before anything else. And in order to do that, we have to have some sort of thing that we can rely on. For my whole life, every time I do, punches and kicks come next, right? My mind clarifies. Like I know when I hear that, I know what's happening next, right? Punches and kicks, reacting to my opponent, dealing with my person in front of me. So if I'm in a stressful situation, I'm nervous, I'm worried, and all of a sudden I have to defend myself, right? I make my kihap. I bring my energy together, produce my sound, and then I have to react accordingly. Some people will use the term psyched up. We get psyched up. We say kihap. Bring your energy together, make the sound to prepare your mind for what comes next. Because after that sound happens, the same thing always happens next. Beautiful, precise, accurate techniques designed for defense. Okay? All right. So now, Jumbi, we're going to step your right leg back. Put your hands up in a position, and when we do it, it's going to be the correct position, right? Remember, hands, knuckles, eyes level, elbow down, backhand around your chin, forearm around the center of your body, backhand just below your eyes, forearm around the center of your body, right? Body half turned. When we get into that position, we're going to do a kihap. We're going to yell. Ready? On my count. When I say 1, you go back. Make the kihap if you're in a position where you can do so safely. Ready? 1, ai! Excellent. Each kicking technique now. We're going to do a sharp, short breath on each kicking technique. Ready? 1. Good. Pushing the weight forward. We're going to try not to pause, okay? So a lot of times the body goes into a rhythm. 1, 2, right? Ah-choo. Right? The leg comes up slow. Remember, recognition from the opponent will happen the moment the body goes into motion. So the moment my leg starts to lift, the opponent's realizing what's happening. So I want to make, from the moment my legs lift to the point my technique finishes, I want to make that quick, okay? Ready, following the count. 2, good. 3, good. 4, 5, excellent. When we change, we're going to key up. Change, ai! Change again. Ai! Change again. Ai! Now we're doing the other leg, okay? Opposite side. Heel comes under the body. Body weight goes forward. Kick it with the ball of the foot. Ready? 1. You see this leg? There's a little pause. Let's make it continuous. 2. Better. 3. 4. 5. And good. Breathing into the nose and out through the mouth. One more. Into the nose and out through the mouth. Very good. So a second ago you heard me say, right? I was noticing that as I was kicking, I was doing a little pause. Sometimes that will happen as I'm explaining technique. I'll say, okay, here's how we do it. Let's go full speed. And somehow in my brain, I'm still sometimes modifying or showing the modules of the technique or slowing things down, or maybe it's just a limit in my abilities. What I want you guys to try to do is try to understand what I'm saying, watch what I'm doing, and if you spot, like I'm saying, like, okay, move your foot super fast, and you watch me and go, that doesn't look that fast. It's okay, right? Don't let my abilities be your limitation. I'm telling you, go fast as you can. And whatever you're seeing me do, that might be my best, but that's not necessarily your limitation. You can exceed that. My job is going to make you a better practitioner than I am. That's my job as an instructor. I need my students to be better than I am. And it's possible. It should happen because, you know, I've been training for 40 years, and what it took me 40 years to learn, you're getting it right away, right? This is your second class, and I'm telling you things that took me 40 years to figure out. So if you're getting that on your second class, by the time you're 20 years in, or 30 years in, or 40 years in, your experience and knowledge will be far greater than mine. And then when you pass things on to your students, it'll be the same thing. Their experience and knowledge will be greater than yours. So our job is always to make the next generation better and more prepared to pass on the knowledge to their students while improving the art overall. All right, guys, so today we reviewed our punching techniques. We reviewed our parallel ready stance. We reviewed our sitting stance. We actually got into our fighting stance position. We practiced our front snap kick, talked about the way the body moves, right? We reviewed our punching techniques and our fist techniques. So we actually did a fair bit today in class. I know you probably are in a situation going, what do you mean? He's making it sound like it's over. Yeah, it is over. So this is going to be the end of our second class. As we train, you know, a lot of times you'll finish and go, I want to do more, or, you know, I want to train again tomorrow. Let's take the day off. Relax tomorrow, let your body recover. We'll come back the day after tomorrow for our third class, or maybe you're training twice a week. Whatever your schedule is, you're going to come back next week for your third class, and then we're going to build on from what we've learned so far. Remember, once you finish 4 classes, you're going to start being invited to our live trainings. So please try to make sure you get through these first 4 classes, and then you'll start to get those emails, and then you'll start to notice the much more of a kind of a club feel, where a group of people that train together get to know each other and enjoy the process. Right now, I know these first few classes you're kind of on your own or with whoever you're training with at home, but as you get through those first 4 and get into our bigger group, you'll start to really sort of enjoy the benefits of the camaraderie of training in a group. Guys, thank you for your time today. I'll see you next class. Chariot, Sasya Nimke, Kyongnan, Taekwondo. Enjoy the rest of your day.